Okay, so just taking a break from working on the Zoe to talk about a bit of an issue with people making claims on the Nissan Leaf battery warranty. Basically, Nissan are admitting that there is an issue with the battery, but they're denying the claim, saying that only certain types of issues are covered by the warranty, which I think is not great, and that's not the view that other manufacturers take. This is a Nissan only thing. So yeah, and if you get into this situation, a bit of information at the end of the video on about what you might be able to do about this. So firstly, what is the warranty and what does it cover and how does it work? So in a Leaf, this is an early Leaf up to about 2017, on the dash you've got the range remaining, so 22 miles there, and these are the charge level, so it's got 4 blocks there, and then it's got these little blocks here on the side, and these are actually a health display. This is the remaining capacity, based roughly on the remaining capacity. So there's 2 red ones there, and then this has got 6 white ones, and it actually goes up to 12, and it should be in line with the top of that one just there. So there's 4 missing on this, so this has got 8 out of 12 bars. So Nissan have based their guarantee on this, their battery warranty on this gauge, and they say when it loses the 9th one, when you get down to 8, i.e. when it looks like this, then you can make a warranty claim, and if that happens within 100,000 miles and 8 years, then you can get the battery repaired, and they will bring it back up to at least 9 bars basically. So they'll maintain it at that 9 bar level for the first 8 years and 100,000 miles. So what does this actually mean? So this is a measure of capacity, but annoyingly all these bars are not actually equal. They're not 1/12 of battery capacity. So the first one, segment 12, actually, and this is from the Leaf service manual. Interestingly, this is from the first version of the service manual. They actually removed it in later versions. Not that maybe they thought they'd rather people didn't know. It was a bit controversial because I looked it up and it wasn't there, and I had to go back to an earlier version. So 12 bars is 85% or more. So when you lose the top one, you're at 85% basically. So 12 turns off at 85%. If you've got 11, it could be down to 78.75. So the first one is 15%, which is a bit cheeky. The ones in the middle are 6.25%, down to the bottom one, which is actually 16.25. So the top and bottom is roughly 15%. One's 15, one's 16.25, and then the middle 10 are equal. Bit cheeky. So yeah, so they've got like a 9 bar or 9 segment guarantee, but that is effectively, because see, segment 9 turns off at 66.25%, so their health guarantee, the capacity is 66.25% from what it was originally. Okay, so a bit cheeky there, but that's what they do cover, and this is related to the health of the battery, the capacity, so how much energy it can store relative to when it was new. Okay, so that's how that works and what they do cover. Batteries all lose capacity over time through age and usage, and they don't store as much as they used to. Everybody accepts that, which is fine, and they've got guarantee. Okay, and Nissan had to offer this guarantee to get the plug-in car grant from the government. So there had to be an 8-year, 100,000 mile battery warranty. Okay, right. So some people have found that even though these bars are not going down, so let's say this had 10 bars, the battery can just have a fault with it, and that can mean that it's not usable. Okay, so I've got a cutaway picture of a battery. So this is a Leaf battery. Okay, so this is the front, it's got the comms and the connectors and stuff like that. It's got these kind of like flat modules. You can see the side, sort of side there, or the top or bottom, depending on which way you talk about it, the kind of flat end. And then you can see here that that's one module. You can see there between that kind of black bit in there. So that's the kind of size of one module, and one module contains usually about 4 cells, depending on the configuration of battery. But anyway, it's got this setup where there's a stacks at the front, a smaller stack in the middle, and then a long sort of stack on its side at the back. Leaf batteries have no cooling Okay, none at all. And they're basically one of the only EVs that has no battery cooling. They might say they have passive cooling, but that basically means that air underneath the vehicle is going across the battery, although if it's got an under tray, it's not really, is it? So it's got no cooling. Okay, with like a Renault Zoe, for example, they have battery cooling using the air conditioning system, so cold aircon air will be pushed into it via an extra aircon evaporator just under the back of the battery, which would be here if it was a Zoe, so pushed down into it. But Leafs have no cooling whatsoever, and also no air gaps. So these have got a gap, but just because it'd be impossible to put them right up next to each other. But these are squidged down. These are actually all bolted together, so they're kind of pushed, they're held firmly together, and that's the BMS on the side, and that is slightly important. So they have no battery cooling. Okay, so when you rapid charge in particular, the batteries get warm, because all batteries do when you charge them quickly or you drive along the motorway. If you go on a long journey, the battery can get hot. And if we look back at the dash, the gauge on the left here is showing us battery temperature. So you can have an issue where this goes up and then you get what's called rapid gate, where charging speeds will really slow down because the battery's hot and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nowhere for the heat to go. Your charging speed slows down, and that's what happens. So Nissan Leaf batteries get hot. So we've got a situation where their battery warranty only covers capacity, and then we've got a poor design where there is no cooling and the batteries are really close together with no air gaps. So what then happens when you're getting it hot on this gauge? What's happening is these cells are getting hot and they're expanding, okay? And that causes them to degrade internally, to degrade faster. All batteries degrade over time, but if you treat them nicer, they last longer. So that increased heat and increased degradation causes what's called higher internal resistance. Okay, so internal resistance is an issue where you have capacity, but you can't access it. It's like trying to pour a bucket through a straw or through a funnel. The capacity is there, but as soon as you try and drive, you might see that your available range really drops down. Even though you fully charged the car last night, you get in it, you put your foot down, and the range drops down, and that's because the voltage of the battery drops. That's the symptom of increased internal resistance. And then when you back off and you sort of regen, you slow down, that comes back again, because it's the voltage of the battery is really dropping because it can't get the electricity through the restriction, through the internal resistance of the battery. And that's dropping as a result. And this can make a car absolutely undrivable, like a fully charged car. You can't accelerate onto the motorway, so this car is totally useless, and it is caused by the battery. And Nissan will agree it's a battery fault. Okay, that's not up for debate. Nissan will say yes, this is a fault inside the battery. The other thing that can happen is as these get hot, particularly this stack, they expand. They're kind of like a pouch cell, like a pouch lithium cell, but in like a metal case. Then they're bolted down, but they expand, particularly when they get hot, and it pushes on this BMS here. So all the batteries have little balance and sensing monitoring wires connected to this circuit board, the BMS, and that's checking the battery voltages and temperatures, stuff like that. And this can get pushed because these batteries are expanding. It's particularly this back one that suffers because you've got a lot in a line. And it pushes this BMS out, and that BMS touches the case and it deforms this, and I've seen it. This is not theory, this is something I've seen multiple times inside Leaf batteries. And this gets pushed into the case, and what happens is you get an internal an insulation fault or internal resistance fault. With an insulation fault, what basically happens is you get a link from the high voltage system to the chassis that shouldn't be there. And that is basically because there's a physical contact between the wires, the contacts inside this BMS, and the case, which shouldn't be there. So basically this gets squidged, the internals here push into that case, and that case pushes into the side, and effectively the high voltage system is then connected to the car body, and that's an insulation fault, and that causes the car you can get different varying degrees of insulation faults. If it's really bad, the car will instantly shut down. like kind of dangerous. If it's borderline, the car might say no restarts, because it knows there's an issue and it kind of doesn't want you to continue to drive, but doesn't want to stop you dead on the road, kind of thing, because that could be dangerous. So yeah, the car, once you turn it off, it won't turn back on again until that fault's cleared, but it will keep coming back until you get this fixed. So we've got a situation where Nissan only cover health, you know, they base their warranty on this, on health available capacity, but yet because of the design, it can suffer issues due to lack of battery cooling, and that causes these issues. And there's been a few cases where people have gone to Nissan, I've got an issue with my battery, either, like I say, you know, you put your foot down and the range absolutely crashes because of internal resistance, or where you get an insulation fault and the car won't start, or you keep getting a warning on the dash, and that's caused inside the battery, and that can be confirmed by an insulation tester. And you take it to Nissan and they say, yep, there's an issue inside your battery, and you're like, okay, cool, you know, it's got an 8-year 100,000 mile warranty, brilliant. And they say it's not covered, and you say, but it's got a battery warranty. So Nissan take the view that the 8-year 100,000 mile battery warranty is based on health and capacity only, i.e. it does not cover faults and it doesn't cover manufacturing issues. I was chatting this through with the head of the technical, head of tech support at Hevra, real smart guy, and he said it is the only warranty he knows of which covers wear and tear but not manufacturing faults. So if you think about a warranty, you know, if you buy tyres or anything, if you buy any kind of consumer product, it has a warranty against manufacturing defects, but doesn't cover wear and tear, does it? You know, you can wear out your tyre and that's not covered, obviously. But Nissan's battery warranty is basically the only one that covers it wearing out, but doesn't cover manufacturing faults. So I don't know what the exact conditions were with Nissan getting the plug-in car grant from the government, because this is why the manufacturers offered 8-year 100,000 mile battery warranties. But yeah, I would like to see it. If anyone's got any information, yeah, let me know in the comments, please. But yeah, I'm kind of thinking the government probably didn't know the kind of different issues that might happen with batteries. But yeah, people are basically getting bills for thousands of pounds for batteries that are under the battery warranty, so they're less than 8 years old, less than 100,000 miles, and Nissan say, yep, it's an issue inside the battery, but because the battery still has capacity, even though maybe it has a fault, so you can't use that capacity, it's totally useless, but still has capacity. Yeah, you can get your bucket full of water, but you can only pour it through a funnel. So you can drive your car really, really slowly, but that's it. But it's not covered under the battery warranty, sorry. And they're getting massive bills. And the interesting thing is that Nissan are the only manufacturer I'm aware of that take this view. So Renault, I haven't heard of anyone having a warranty claim denied if it's under the 8-year 100,000 mile. Yeah, literally haven't heard of it reported by any other manufacturer other than the Nissan. And combined with the fact that it's got such a poor design of battery, no battery cooling. So this seems like a pretty big issue to me. People are facing bills of £4,000 to £5,000 to say, let's say, replace all the cells at the back of here, or a group of cells. You can also have an issue with this back set, and I've discussed with garages about doing repairs on Leaf batteries. So these are sort of clamped together, and you might have some that you can see are expanding, but if you imagine you're going to undo, it's literally got bars running down that you bolt in. You can kind of see them there. It's clamped together by that bar and held in place, and there's the one over there, the one down there. If you undo this to put some in, you undo it, the ones that have expanded a little bit are going to expand more, so the repair options are really limited. And in terms of customers, it really backed into a corner. I mean, £5,000 might be the value of the car. So I think it's a pretty big issue. And I don't understand why Nissan are the only ones who are taking this view. Yeah, if you've had this issue and faced this kind of bill, let me know. And it's kind of a shame, because the Leaf overall is a very reliable car. The main issue is the battery. I mean, why do cars always have one big fault with each model? With the Zoe's motors, with the Leaf's batteries, can't they just make a car which doesn't have a major flaw somewhere. Come on. So yeah, now what can you do about this if you end up in this situation? So there's a group of drivers who are trying to take Nissan to court, but really could do with more information about what's covered under the sort of plug-in car grant and things like that, and just gathering more information from people of what's happened to them. It's a bit of a group on Speak EV and some of the Nissan groups on Facebook. But yeah, let me know if this issue has affected you, and hope that's interesting, and any comments sort of let me know. But I think this is pretty appalling, to be honest, and I think it needs discussing. There's not a lot of information out there about this, but yeah, just from being on lots of forums and groups and chatting to garages about what customers are telling them Nissan have said, because we get cars going into garages and they sort of ring up and say, oh, customer's got this issue, and we say, oh, well, that's under the 8-year 100,000 mile battery warranty, customer could take it to Nissan. Okay, fantastic, they take it there, but the claim's denied. And I think that's pretty appalling, to be honest. So yeah, let me know what you think, and hopefully that's interesting. All right, catch you later.